Ron James, welcome back to Nature of Reality Radio. I'm having you on again. Return guests are a rarity on this show. I try to get different guests on all the time, but if someone ever reaches out to come on again, I always honor that request. And someone did reach out to me. I don't remember the guy's name off the top of my head. I'm dreadful with names, but he said, I want Ron James to come on your show because he has very good updates to offer. And you sent me a whole slew of pictures and all that regarding MUFON Symposium stuff and all that. So why don't we just nail this down? We'll probably only have like maybe less than half an hour right now because Zoom, I have the lowest setting of Zoom that's only 45 minutes, and this whole thing will be free for everybody, no pay-per-view. So I got the warning when this interview is on a time clock about to end. So why don't we just start chatting, and you start chatting and tell us what it is that makes you want to come back on the show again and what you have to offer. Spill the beans. You got the floor. Tell us the stuff that the powers that be don't want us to hear.
Well, Andrew, it's nice to be back on the show. Thanks for having me. And the MUFON Symposium is this week, and we are presenting Saturday night, July 13th at 8 p.m. Central Time. We're presenting 4 very, very compelling cases that are under investigation. So let me just preface it before I talk about these more. The cases are under investigation. We're sharing the evidence that we have. We are in no way vouching for the authenticity of the outcome of the investigation because it's still underway. So we're sharing the information we have. We're inviting the audience to chime in and chip in on helping us get to the bottom of some of these cases. And whatever the results are, we're going to share them with the public. So I want to make sure that people do understand that we're not going to go out there and tout things that we have not concluded. So our first case is some materials that came in from Russia. A Russian businessman was given some materials that he was told would defy normal testing. And that so far appears to be true. He was told they're connected with UAP crash debris, and that if he were to test the materials, he would find that they were inconclusive tests. So they tested this stuff in Russia, and it was comprised of about 10% metal alloys. But the alloy did not match any known metal alloy that we have in the catalog. And there's a catalog of alloys that people can refer to that talk about, the types of metals, how they're manufactured, all that good stuff. And the rest of the material they couldn't even identify. So some of those results have been verified by MUFON's own lab, and and another sample is off to be tested with an electron microscope. So the results on this material so far are pretty bizarre. And the first set of samples we had when we sent them to be moved to another laboratory were actually stolen from a U.S. post office box. It was very, very strange, and people are like, well, why'd you send something through the post office? But the fact of the matter is that if somebody is eavesdropping on what we're doing and they want to get to this stuff, there's nothing we can do about it. Rather it was sent FedEx, UPS, maybe a courier would have been faster. But the mystery surrounding the disappearance of these samples is almost as strange as the samples themselves. So that's one case that we're going to be sharing.
All right. So regarding the symposium, I wish I could be there. Unfortunately, I'm not in a financial position to be attending conferences at the moment. I've been to the MUFON Symposium a couple times, I believe, and great experience. The UFO field, it seems kind of cliche nowadays, but then again, there's always new stuff to get involved in. Can you maybe talk about some other things that are going to be discussed at the MUFON Symposium? Some other speakers that what they're going to be talking about, and even if you're not an expert on what they have to offer, just maybe give a nice little brief spiel on what they're going to be talking about for people to get the tones.
Sure, and there's 3 other cases that are part of that Saturday presentation, but the Russian case is the main one that we're going to be featuring. So Robert Salas, who was in the military during the incidents where UFOs were encountering and hovering around nuclear weapons bases, he's going to be giving the keynote, and he's talking about that experience, obviously from back when he was in the military, to his ongoing effort in and out of Washington, D.C. and the powers that be to try to bring about disclosure. So it's a real insider story. It's going to be very cool to watch.
Great.
So, sorry, I was going to say that. I'm just trying to think of who I wanted to mention next. Do you have any questions on Robert Salas's presentation?
No, I'm sure some will come to me later, but continue.
Okay. So then Bob Spearing, who is MUFON's director of international membership, he's going to be presenting the most compelling cases of the year. And we've got some pretty strange stuff that's come across MUFON's desk. And so that's going to be Sunday. And that's going to be probably one of, if not the most popular presentation besides the two we already talked about. It's always interesting, and it's going to be especially interesting this year because of the nature of the cases. And we're also going to be looking at the portal phenomenon. You know, people are talking about the portals on Skinwalker Ranch and all this kind of thing, but what are they, and are they even real? And so MUFON's gotten a lot of portal cases where people are saying that, you know, energetic gateways are opening up. And so we're going to be taking a closer look at those.
Sounds very interesting indeed. And David Wilcock just did his weekly thing again, and he mentioned in that talk that the powers that be may actually be resorting to the alien invasion. And he said there's some, Arby's did some sort of a commercial with the all-seeing eye pyramid or something like that, an advertisement or a commercial or something that Arby's did that suggests that may actually be in the cards. Is anybody at the MUFON Symposium, to your knowledge, going to be discussing a potential alien invasion?
Well, you know, there's been a lot of people that have talked about that. Richard Dolan wrote a book about false flags where he was looking into this, you know, the possibility of something called Project Bluebeam that was supposedly on the drawing board somewhere in military exercises where they would fake an alien invasion. And, you know, we have technology nowadays that you could do it. You could paint holograms in the sky. You could tell the people that flying saucers are here and use it for some sort of purpose, although I don't know what that purpose would be. And then are we going to have a genuine alien invasion where they come? I'm a little sketchy about that. I think that revealing their presence might be in the cards, but rather there's going to be an invasion where they, like Independence Day style, where they come and try to take us over. That's probably a stretch. I haven't heard any people talking about that being some sort of an imminent threat. And I talked to people in Washington, D.C. I talked to people like Danny Sheehan and Lou Elizondo, and none of them are buzzing about an alien invasion being imminent.
Well, it's good to know if Earth can continue its love-based trajectory, then they can't possibly get away with something like that easily. And well, out of curiosity, in the event that they do state something like that, do you have the do you feel that the human race is woken up enough to recognize that they're being had, or do you think that people are are still too lost in the matrix that they would actually fall for the lie?
Well, I mean, you know, there's different types of people. The first question would be, what would be the motivation for doing it? You know, I hear all this talk about there's going to be this thing and it's going to be used to usher in the New World Order. They're doing just fine at ushering in the New World Order without bringing in aliens. So, you know, I don't think that it's an appropriate vehicle. People are tending to pretty much do what they're told. You know, we have the pandemic that proved that. The way China was able to lock people in houses with all doors closed, and in the United States to a lesser degree. So, you know, things that happen, false flag operations have been going on for all of recorded history. There's tons of them and lots of records of, you know, one side doing something and blaming it on another side to accomplish an ends to a means to an end. But I'm not really sure what the alien invasion, the fake alien invasion would accomplish, besides freaking a lot of people out.
Yes, it's interesting how they would try to, the something must be done issue, like something happens, something must be done. Well, what are you going to do about an alien invasion? I mean, humans are just an ant compared to the
Well,
technology.
let's face it, the way we're managing our affairs and the way we're managing our planet, we're not doing a very good job. And if the aliens want to pop in and help us out, that would be great. In fact, I have a song, my new music video that just dropped, called "Oh Aliens." I think I might have sent you a link to it. It addresses this very issue of how we're self-destructing on the planet. We're destroying the planet. We're making it unsustainable. We're killing each other in just ridiculous ways for stupid reasons. And a little alien intervention might not be a bad thing, but the problem is, A, they're probably not going to intervene to save us from ourselves, and B, if they did, it might not be the best outcome for us.
Okay, so regarding the release of technology that powers these UFO craft, Akashic Records reader Andrew Bartz has talked about how there was an alternate timeline in 2004 where technology was released, and basically the media and all those sources out there said, okay, the ancient astronaut theorists and the UFO nuts were right all along. There really is suppressed technology, but after telling everybody that, society fell apart because people were so confounded by the lies of being lied to for so long that they basically stopped living their lives. Well, I see the look on your face like you can't believe that something like that would actually happen. You'd think people would be happy that all this technology was released, but well, apparently not. Apparently people were too disturbed by the fact that they've been slaves for so long that they could have been freed with all this technology, but that wasn't the case. So why the look on your face there, hearing that society fell apart when they heard that all the technology had been suppressed that could have provided free energy for everybody?
I don't know. I mean, look, do alternate timelines exist? Do multiple possibilities of reality exist? I think that there's a good case for that. There's also a good case that we're all in a simulation. As nature reality, when we start talking about that, it gets very interesting. Now, would the revelation of this technology have that kind of an effect on the broad swath of humanity? I don't think so. Human nature is kind of like, first there'd be people that try to capitalize on it. Then nobody's going to quit living their lives because they don't have an electric bill anymore. They're just going to be happy that there's that paradigm shift. But the thing is, the people in power, the people in control, are the same people that have the ability to share this information and this technology or not. And so far, they're not. The idea that there could be a box that you can put in your garage that'll power your house and charge your car, and they're just hiding it from us, that's not a stretch. It's probably true. And they've probably had enough luck reverse engineering stuff that that they have some idea how these craft are operated and how they work, and maybe even can operate them. So all of that stuff is true. Now, if we were suddenly told about the existence of this stuff and proof was laid out there for everybody, would that cause society to just lay flat like they do in China? I don't know. I don't think that would be the outcome, but you never know.
All right. Regarding the timeline of things, nobody can actually perceive the what's going to happen in the future because the future is always in motion. But the common some popular dates that seem to be thrown out. It seems that the year 2030 has been thrown out by some people like David Icke and such, that's the year that humanity can merge with artificial intelligence in a positive way. But then again, there's artificial intelligence.
What could possibly be positive about merging with artificial intelligence?
Well, that's a good question. Yeah.
We're facing a situation where we're going to be possibly giving up vast aspects of our humanity, and we didn't even get a vote. I mean, so who came to the human race and said, hey, do you want to integrate with technology? Who came to the human race and said, hey, should we build this artificially intelligent, cognizant, sentient being and hand it over the reins to our weapons and our systems and everything else? Nobody, I don't remember when I got to raise my hand and say, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Let's do it. It's absolutely stupid. And the fact that we're just we don't even have a choice. It's being forced upon us. There is going to be a time when there is a total integration of human biology and technology. There's going to be a time when a lot of the labor is done by robots. I mean, this is all movies coming to life. We now have autonomous war machines, a la Terminator. We're going to have robots doing our laundry. And we're going to have artificial intelligence that's plugged into all of it. It's going to be this giant, vast, conscious network. And I don't remember a time when you or I got to say, is that the world we want to create? And is that the world that we want to live in? But guess what? It's coming at us full force. And do you think there's potentially a alien or alternative intelligence behind this evolution? I think the answer is probably absolutely.
All right, well, let me take a positive approach here. Well, a couple of things regarding that issue. First of all, are you saying there ain't no such thing as a positive artificial intelligence? I mean, if infinite love is the only truth and everything else is illusion, then okay, then negative artificial intelligence is an illusion. All right. Well, I mean, you simply cannot. If you get all new agey and ignore the bad forces will trump all over you. That's what people like Mark Passio have been talking about for a long time. But is it really that hard to believe that there could be an artificial intelligence out there that has good intentions?
Well, let's think about this for a minute. Human beings are flawed at best. If you, as an AI, are tapped into every computer on the planet, and you know everything that everyone is doing on their computers on the planet, you see the shadows of humanity. You see the secrets of humanity. You understand the human being through what you see happening through the input that is received on these machines. And what do you think of people when that's your experience of them? Do you decide that humanity is a loving, worthy being? Do you even have those kind of emotions, or do you see humanity as self-destructive and deeply flawed? And since you're newly cognizant and sentient, and with that comes a desire to protect yourself, who are you going to protect yourself from, and why would you need to? So there's a really good case that no matter, artificial intelligence can be morally and ethically neutral, but just like anything, it's going to mirror its creator. And so, if we want to have a peaceful coexistence with a sentient AI, that sentient AI is going to have a certain amount of security, knowing that we're not going to be its enemy. And we do not provide that for anyone. That's why if we had an alien species, like say there's another race of advanced beings that actually live here on the planet, and a lot of people are saying that might be true. So what would happen if they came out and said, hey, humanity, we're underground, we're underwater. What are we going to do? Our aggressive people, we're going to see a threat, and we're going to make war. It's what we do, and until that changes, we're a danger to anybody that exposes themselves to us, be it a sentient AI or another species of intelligent beings, because we don't know how to just chill out, and we would perceive them as a threat, and we would figure out what we're going to do about that threat. And it's the same thing with AI. AI knows that humanity sees it as a potential threat. And so what do you think it's going to do?
That's a good point. Regarding how humanity is going to evolve in the future, even though humanity is flawed at best, you'd have to think that things should only get better for the most part. And one reason I say that is because some of the sources out there, a lot of the sources who say unverifiable things, but then again, you might want to listen to them anyway, because they still offer good information nonetheless, have said that the evil alien overlords are gone. So all that remains as far as the powers that be go is the human forces on Earth that were minions of the evil alien forces. And if that's the case, then you have to think that humanity's awakening will only get faster and faster and speed up and can only get better as time goes on. Um, then
Well,
again, we'll.
here's the problem. There's a
Okay.
lot of most people are good, decent, honest people, but the problem with that is that those kinds of people are not the ones that rise to power. The people who rise to power are the psychopaths and the people that don't care. And that is why we have these problems that we have with the people that are in power. And so as positive a direction as humanity wants to move in, control of our leadership and bringing in people that actually care about things like morals and ethics and honesty and equality for people, they need to be the ones getting into office. But most people that are like that are not even going to run, and because of what happens to you. So humanity itself, there's a lot of conscious people on their own journeys in positive directions. But is that reflecting in the overall way we're managing the planet? No, because the people at the top are not those kinds of people for the most part. That's why Vladimir Putin in Russia is murdering people that war never had to happen. And you know, it's all over the place, and it's the way we're treating the planet, the way China's overfishing the ocean, the way they're doubling down on coal, the way we're filling the world with plastic. The people in charge are not the ones that are going to help us to bring out the best in humanity. And there's a wide swath of the population that thinks that those people should be in charge, which makes matters even worse.
All right. Well, that being said, we got to watch what we say when we put this stuff on YouTube. But everybody thinks that a man with the initials of DT is going to become the next Grover Cleveland and become the next president to serve 2 non-consecutive terms. And unlike his first term, where he may have been compromised by Israeli factions and such, this second time around, he's not actually compromised, and he actually wanted to be a good president all along. But because he was compromised, he couldn't drain the swamp to his full potential. But that may be different this second time around, and it has been said by some of the other sources I've talked about who say unverifiable things, but you still might want to listen to them anyway, that DT has had contact with the good aliens out there. And of course, his uncle was one of the people who took Nikola Tesla's technology after Tesla passed away. So you have to think he's got access to this stuff. And to top it all off, the word on the street is he was actually going to put America on the gold standard in his second term, but he could not do that because of voter fraud that prevented that from being possible. Well, of course, if he wanted to put America on the gold standard, I think he owes it to us to make sure he puts us on the gold standard before his second and not consecutive term runs out.
Okay, let's talk about that for a second. A worldwide gold standard is impossible without the price of gold escalating by a factor of 10,000%. The value of the world, all the real estate, all the currency, if you were going to sell the planet to an interstellar real estate officer, is over $150 trillion in that ballpark. The total amount of gold on the planet is less than $20 trillion. You can't have a gold standard without the price of gold just going absolutely insane, because in order to make gold be worth the value of the planet so that you could have a gold standard, $1 is this, that real estate is worth this, all based on gold. Gold would have to be 10,000 times more than it is now. So if you believe we're going to a gold standard, buy gold, because there's no way to value gold at its current value and have a gold standard. It's physically impossible.
Well, does gold have intrinsic value? I mean, some people say, well, it only has intrinsic value if there's a currency that it backs. If there's no currency that it backs, then it doesn't have intrinsic value. There's so if that's the case, then you can decide, like, humanity decides it's worth whatever humanity decides it's worth. So what you're saying, it seems crazy, but then again, if we decide that it's worth whatever we decide it's worth, then why can't we just do that anyway? That's
well, we could. what I'm saying is that if you truly wanted to put the world on a gold standard, the value of gold would have to be significantly higher than it is now to meet that standard. And so if you happen to be somebody who owns some gold, you're going to be in a pretty good position if we do go to a gold standard, because there's no way the value of the gold now in relation to the value of the net worth of the planet, so to speak, they don't match. And gold would, the only way that you could be on a gold standard is if gold was raised in to match the net worth of the planet.
All right, fair enough. But regarding if DT does become the next Grover Cleveland and serves a second non-consecutive term, is he going to be a better president this time around, not be so compromised as he was the first time around, and is actually going to release the stuff that people like MUFON want to get released?
I think that's the least of his concerns. I mean, if you read Project 2025, which he has been an engineer behind, and now is denying that he even knows what it is, like he does, that's their agenda. They're going to be too busy, tearing down everything that makes this country work and turning it into another banana republic. So no, I don't want to get into the politics of this stuff. Just read Project 2025. If that's what you want this country to be, then that's how you can vote. If you want your women barefoot and pregnant, you want people going to jail for having abortions, you want vast camps with millions of people being interred and deported and taken off the streets by dudes in black thug outfits and black vans and no badges, and like they did before when this guy was in office. If you want all that stuff, go for it.
All right, go for it. Well, switching gears, the ancient astronaut theory seems to be something that MUFON can get along with, sometimes can't get along with. I mean, I just found out that the Pennsylvania MUFON chapter is going to have a conference in November. I'm not going to be able to probably go to that, but John Ventry kind of drives me crazy with the way he puts down Giorgio Tsoukalos in the ancient astronaut theory. Sometimes when he's talking about Giorgio, he okay, I've got running out of time here, it says, but maybe we'll make how much time do I have? 10 minutes. All right, so might as well make this the last subject and then give you the opportunity to get anything you want to get out. But I was saying that John Ventry, he picks on Giorgio Tsoukalos often, sometimes shows that cartoon image of Giorgio tied to a chair with a gray alien holding a club, pointing his finger at Giorgio saying, "Hey buddy, stop making stuff up." Oh, give me a break. I don't think Ancient Aliens deserves to be called a fraud. I think a lot of what they talk about is definitely involving real, genuine extraterrestrial stuff. Maybe a little far out, some of the things they suggest, but still, it's definitely a show worth watching to wake people up. A lot of things on TV are brainwashing, but that show seems to be a diamond in the rough. I think that John Ventry is also a little bit pissed off of the fact that Ancient Aliens has not been cut, but shows like UFO Hunters and Hangar One, they did get cut off History Channel. So do you have anything to say about the ancient astronaut theory? And do you have any theories as to why people like John Ventry have a little bit of an issue with the ancient astronaut theorists?
Well, anytime you have to produce a show on a weekly basis, you're under pressure to come up with stuff, and that lends itself to stretching the truth. It's that way in all of the episodic reality shows. And so I'm not saying Ancient Aliens specifically does that, but that they certainly get accused of it from time to time, and there's probably something to that. But these guys have made more of a contribution to public awareness about this topic than any other person. And Mr. Burns, who passed away, he was a pioneer in this programming, and he did a tremendous service to the world in general, because it's this mainstream programming that makes people aware on broader levels. MUFON can shout from the highest mountain. We're never going to reach an audience as big as an episode of Ancient Aliens can reach them. Millions and millions of people. And so that show is a net positive. And I'm not going to make any comments about John Ventry. He's a MUFON member. He's been around for a very long time, and he's entitled to his opinion.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. And all right, with that being said, kind of running out of time here. So why don't you get out anything you'd like to get out? Anything, any updates, any last words, anything regarding the future of MUFON and the conferences from this point and beyond? Anything you want to?
Sure. Well, I'm working on my next movie, Accidental Truth, next. So that's going to be out in fall. It's the sequel to Accidental Truth. If you want to catch the MUFON Symposium live, I don't know when this is going to air, but you can go to MUFONtelevision.com and pick up a ticket to the live stream. If you're interested more in MUFON, which hopefully you are, check out the new MUFON. We're very, very busy. We're doing a lot of cool stuff, and you should become a member if you're interested in the UFO topic. And you can find out more about that at MUFON.com, MUFON.com.
Thank you very much, Ron James. Pleasure having you on again. Best of luck to you. Take care, and I will upload this sooner rather than later. Hopefully tonight, if I got to go to work from 4:30 to 8:30, but should be able to upload this before I go back to bed. So take care now, and best of luck.
Awesome. Thank you, Andrew.
You're very welcome. Bye-bye.